Today we are diving into Greg McKeown's Essentialism. It's this really powerful philosophy about how to achieve more, not by piling on more work, but by doing only the things that truly matter. It's all about taking back control of your own choices.
Okay, so first up, let's talk about a problem that I think so many of us run into. It's this feeling of being completely trapped by trivial, unimportant stuff. McKeown calls this the non-essentialist trap.
I mean, does this sound familiar to you? You feel totally stretched thin. You're overworked, but somehow you're also underutilized. You're just constantly moving, but it feels like you're not actually getting anywhere important. If that hits home for you, well, you are definitely not alone. And this image right here, it just perfectly illustrates why we feel that way. When we're stuck in that non-essentialist mindset, all of our energy just gets scattered across a dozen different things. And the result is, well, it's this really unfulfilling feeling of making just a millimeter of progress in a million different directions.
This leads to a life where we're basically majoring in minor activities. We say yes just to please people or to avoid conflict, not because the task actually moves us forward. The book tells a story about an executive, Sam Elliott, who found himself drowning in meetings and requests, trying to keep everyone happy until his actual work quality totally tanked and he just felt completely out of control.
And that really gets to the heart of it. If you don't have a deliberate plan for your life, other people's agendas will shape it for you. The author himself learned this the hard way. He actually chose to go to a client meeting just hours after his daughter was born, a decision he made out of pressure that, in the end, served absolutely no one. It's a really powerful reminder of what's truly at stake.
But, that very experience set him on a brand new path. And that path leads us to this powerful alternative, the way of the essentialist.
So what if? What if instead of getting pulled in every single direction, we could actually choose where to focus our energy? What if we could live a life that really matters, by design and not by default?
And that is the absolute core of essentialism. Look, it's not about doing less just for the sake of doing less. It's a disciplined, systematic way of figuring out what is absolutely essential and then having the courage to eliminate everything else.
Now, what's so cool about this slide is seeing it in contrast to that earlier one. Remember the scattered energy? Here, by focusing that exact same amount of energy on fewer, more vital things, we create real momentum. We start making significant progress on the things that actually matter most to us. Essentialism is all about making the deliberate choice to separate the vital few from the trivial many. So instead of just reacting to every demand that comes your way, the essentialist pauses. They decide what's truly important, and then they clear the path so that doing it becomes almost effortless.
Now, to live this way, we first have to overcome three really deeply held and totally false assumptions that are probably holding us back. This really requires a fundamental shift in our mindset.
Okay, the very first shift is all about reclaiming our power of choice. The non-essentialist feels trapped, right? They think every request is something they have to do. But the essentialist, they know that in pretty much every situation, they have a choice.
And that is the key. Our options might be limited sometimes, sure, but our ability to choose between them, that's an invincible power. We just have to remember to use it. When we forget, we can fall into this trap of learned helplessness, where we start to believe our efforts don't even matter.
All right, mindset shift number 2 is about discernment. The non-essentialist tends to believe that almost everything is essential. They treat every opportunity like it's equally important. But the essentialist knows that most things are just noise and that only a very, very few things are exceptionally valuable.
This quote from John Maxwell just drives that point home, doesn't it? Our world is full of good opportunities, but they are not all created equal. The job of an essentialist is to filter through all that trivial stuff to find the vital few things that will give them the greatest results. And the final shift is learning to accept the reality of trade-offs. Non-essentialists try to do it all. They're always asking, how can I fit everything in? But essentialists, they ask a much smarter and much tougher question. Which problem do I want? They deliberately and strategically choose one path, fully aware that it means not choosing another.
So the mindset is clear. But how do we actually do this? How do we put it into practice, day in and day out? Well, luckily, McKeown gives us a really simple 3-step method.
And a brilliant way to wrap your head around this whole process is to think about cleaning out a really cluttered closet. It's the perfect analogy for how we can start to declutter our entire lives.
Okay, so first you explore. You look at everything in your closet or your life and you evaluate it against a really strict question. Does this make the highest possible contribution? Second, you eliminate what doesn't make the cut. This is the hard part, saying no, even to good opportunities. And third, you execute. You create a system for the few things you've kept, making it almost effortless to do what matters most.
And this is so important to remember. This isn't a one-time spring cleaning project. It's a continuous discipline. It's a cycle that you apply over and over again, every time you face a new decision or a new request for your time.
Ultimately, when you apply this disciplined method of less but better, it's not just about getting more productive. It's about designing a life that is more meaningful and more impactful.
I mean, this is the whole journey right here. It's about moving from that tangled mess of the undisciplined pursuit of more over to the clarity, the focus, and the real impact that comes from the disciplined pursuit of less.
And this journey connects to something so profound. A nurse recorded the most common regrets of her dying patients, and this was number one. Essentialism is, in a way, a tool to help us find that courage, the courage to live a life that is authentically ours.
So, we'll end with this powerful question from the poet Mary Oliver. Because essentialism isn't just about managing your time, it's about investing your life. And it asks you, directly, to decide what truly deserves your one wild and precious life.